Hello everyone, this is Stephanie. Recently we made this moon rocks bracelet, which was a netted bracelet with a toggle clasp and a loop, sort of a free-form loop, so there. And we also made a toggle and a free-form loop for the moon rocks necklace, so that's here. And I remember when I made the video, I said I would show you how to make a toggle for the closure, and I didn't, so I'm so sorry. I'm going to do that right now. So for those of you who need a little primer on a peyote toggle, on some flat even count peyote, this will be for you. And I think I will sprinkle a few of these sort of how-to videos in throughout my the free projects, so in case you need a little refresher course or or something for that particular project, it's right there for you. So what I've done here is I've taken a size 10 beading needle, some fireline. I'm using 8 pound. This is a how-to, so really can use anything. For the tube, I'm going to use delica beads because they're like cylinders, and they work so well in peyote. If you're making the moon rocks bracelet, I've done this peyote tube out of just regular seed beads, and it works just as well. It's just for viewing purposes or how-to purposes that I'm going to use the delica beads. But you can use anything. On this one, I used size 8.0 seed beads, and it came out just fine. So get some of your materials together. Get some seed beads, some delicas, a little fireline, and a needle, and we'll get started. Okay, so I've threaded my needle, put a stop bead at the end, and I've put on 10 beads. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's 10. So I have 10 delica beads on here. You can put 10 8.0s, you can put 10 seed beads, 10 6.0s, anything that makes it easy for you to learn this. And then you can apply it to any bead. Okay, so here they are, hanging out at the end of the stop bead. I'm going to flip it around so my stop bead is on the top. Just the way I do it. I can hold it better this way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up a bead on my needle. I'm going to skip the very bottom bead here, and I'm going to go up the next bead. Okay, see that? Skipping the bottom, going up the next. I'm going to put my thumb on the project. As you know, if you've watched a few of my videos, I say thumbs are so important in bead weaving. Just hold your thumb on it and pull. And this is what you'll have. So you'll have like a little T at the bottom, 2 beads sitting next to each other. So every time we put a bead on, it's going to sit next to the bead previous, okay, to it. So that's what you should have. If you don't, redo it so you have that. Okay? Trying to get my light. I'm sorry about my lights today. They're a little off, but we'll get there. Okay, so I'm taking another bead. There we go. I'm coming out of this bead above the 2. I'm going to skip the next one, and I'm going to go up the next one. Okay, so you see how those are the 2 that are together on the bottom. I've come out of this bead, I skip the next one, I'm going up the next bead. And we're going to pull. Okay, and that's going to pop that, sorry about that, that second bead into place. So you see with delicas, they just sit so perfectly. But you can do it with any bead. Honestly, they still look great. As I said, this little toggle was 8.0 seed beads, and it looks great. Okay, so let's do that again. We'll take a bead. Okay, we're coming out of, here, let me straighten out the beads a little bit so you can see where we are. We're coming out of this bead, skip the next one. Okay, skip this one and go up the next bead. Put your finger on it, your thumb, whatever finger. I mean, they're all very helpful in beading, and pull. Okay, and that should sit. You may need to play with a little bit. That should sit the next bead next to the previous bead. So this is what you should have. If it looks a little different because you're using seed beads, it's okay. So it doesn't sit as well, but it's going to be the same. It's going to look the same when you're done. You're doing it right, even if you're not using delicas. Okay? Take another bead. We're coming out of this bead. We're going to skip this bead and go up the next bead, if I can get my needle through it. Okay, so we are coming out of this one that's above the two, sitting next to each other. We're skipping the next one and going up the next one. Put my thumb on it and pull. Okay, so this is what you have. Okay, these are considered the first 2 rows, or 3. Peyote is a little confusing as far as counting the rows, but I think once you learn how to do it, you'll, you won't have any trouble counting a 10-row toggle. And I'll show you how you do that in a minute. Okay, so I'm going to pick up another bead. Okay, I'm coming out of this bead. I'm going to skip this bead, and I'm going to go through the bead that's next to my stop bead. Pull. Tug so they sit next to each other. Okay, so this is what you have. Okay, so that's the first, what looks like 2 rows, but I don't know, when you count this way it looks like 3, this way it looks like 2. To me it's a little confusing with the rows. If you have a pattern that you're doing in peyote, the pattern will show you where to go. We're just doing a straight 10-row toggle, and I'll show you how to count those rows. They're very easy. You're going to count these on the bottom and on the top. You're going to have 5 on this part, 5 on the top. When you get to that, you've got 10 rows. Okay, so now I'm going to turn my piece around. All right, now here comes the easy part. Hold it in your hand, pick up a bead, go through the first sticking out bead. That's what you're going to do all the way up. And see what that does? Puts it right into place. Pick up a bead, go through the next bead that is sticking out. Make sure you don't go through another one. Okay. Oops. I did exactly what I told you not to do. Okay, so pick up the bead, go through the next sticking out bead. So that would be that bead. Pull it into place. So you're really just filling in these spaces at this point. Pick up another bead. Pull it into place. Pick up another bead. Pull it into place. Pick up another bead. Go through the next sticking out bead. Pull that into place. This is what you have. Okay, turn it around, or you can work from the top down. I just like to turn it around. Pick up a bead. This is the easy part. Go through the first sticking out bead. Pick up a bead. Go through did I get a bead on there? Go through the next sticking out bead. There. Pick up a bead. Oops. Tail around a little bit, go through the next sticking out bead. Okay, pick up a bead, go through the next sticking out bead. Pick up a bead, go through the next sticking out bead. So that's what we're doing. So we're going to continue on putting our beads on, just picking up a bead. Oops, turn this one around, or work from the top down. Pick up a bead, slide it through the first sticking out bead. Okay. Pull that to place. Pick up a bead. Go through the next sticking out bead. Pull through. Pick up a bead. Go through the next sticking out bead. Pick up a bead. Go through the next sticking out bead. Pick up a bead. Go through the next sticking out bead. Okay, so this is what you have. Now the way I count my rows, and it seems to work, is I count how many beads I have up at the top, and I have 3, and how many beads I have at the bottom. I have 3. So keep on going until you have 5 on the top and 5 on the bottom. Okay, there'll be times where there's 4 on the bottom, 3 on the bottom, and 4 on the top, or vice versa. Just make sure when you're done when you have 5 beads across the top, 5 beads across the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to pause you for a second, let you play with that a little bit, get up to your 10 rows, and the 10 rows, it's 5 and 5. Okay, so 5 up here, 5 up here, that will be 10 rows. So keep on going until you get to your 5 rows on the top and the bottom, and then we'll come back and we'll zip this thing up. Okay, we're back. So I've got my piece. I've got 5 rows up at the top. If I clear that up. And I've got, turn it this way, I've got 5 rows, see? Or 5 beads, sorry, at the bottom. So if you look at them this way, it's 5. Now don't take for granted that you have 5 rows. That one got stuck. Okay, so don't take for granted that if you have 5 beads at the top on one side that you have it on the other. Just make sure that when you look at it there are 5 on each side. So I'm coming out of this bead here. Okay, so what you're going to do now is you're going to take your piece and you're going to fold it in half. Okay, kind of like that. Just going to fold it. And we're going to zip this up. It's like a zipper. So we're going to take our needle. Our thread is coming out of this bead. We're going to go through the next bead on the bottom on the other side, just to connect those beads. Those aren't connected yet. Okay? And now we're going to go diagonally. So we're going to, coming out of this bead, we're going to go through this bead that's sticking out. And this is going to zip it up. You'll see. Then I'm going to go through diagonally to the other side, to this bead, like so. Then I'm going to go to this bead, like so. Then I'm going to go to this bead. So I'm sort of zipping across. I'm going on the diagonal, and I'm going to go through this bead. See how it's zipping up? I'm going to go through this bead. I'm going to go through the bead, and you will see this on your piece. It's hard to see it on camera because it's, you don't see the 3-dimensionality of it, but you will see, if that's a word, you will see it as you do it. So I'm going back and forth, just on the diagonal through the sticking out beads. Okay, so I'm coming up to my stop bead, and I'm going to go through this top one. Okay, and if you take a look, it's all zipped up. It's a little peyote toggle, a little tube. You can make it longer, you can make it shorter. You can make it with different beads. It's it looks best on camera with the delica beads, but you can do it with any bead. So if you look at the top where my stop bead is coming out, these 2 beads are not connected yet. The bead that my thread is coming out of and the bead my tail is coming out of. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through the bead where my tail is coming out and down diagonally through a bead below it. Now, let's make sure I didn't get stuck. No, I didn't. Okay. So now you always want to go on. So you want to close that top. So we've closed the top, and now you want to maybe reinforce this a little bit. So with peyote, you always want to go on the diagonal. if I go straight down, let's see if you can see this, if I go through this bead straight down, you're going to see thread. This thread is going to be seen. So I'm coming out of this bead. I'm going to go diagonally across this bead, and maybe another one, maybe not, maybe just one. So I'm going to pull that, okay? Then I'm coming out of this bead, I'm going to go, let's see, which bead? We're coming out of this bead, we're going to go, see if we can get diagonally through two beads. Try to get, you can get through several. Sometimes you can only get through one, sometimes two, and I'm going to pull that. So in that way I'm going to reinforce it a little bit. So if you see this way, there's your tube, has 5 beads in the round, and I'm going to take the stop bead off this, and this one has 5 beads. Okay, so this is how you make a 10-row toggle. What you do at this point is sew in your, snake around a little bit. So I'm coming out of this bead, I'm going to go, and maybe change direction a little bit, because that way you can't tie knots in something this tight. So just keep changing direction, go through a couple of beads, go through this one. Just make sure it's on the diagonal. If you see thread, back out and do it again. Go through maybe these two, and go back down these two, over here, pull. Okay, and then you can snip your thread off there, and then take this piece and do the same with this piece. Tie this piece in. So put a needle on it, snake around a little bit until it feels tight and comfortable. And let's see if I can get in closer. Oh, come on, little camera. We know my camera is nothing but a problem. Instead of a problem child, it's a problem camera. But I still love it. And okay, there we go. So there's your toggle. It's really easy with the delica beads. Let's see if I can bring it up closer so you can see. Oh, there we go. Okay, so it's really easy with the delica beads because they go right into place beautifully. As I said, the moon rocks is made with just regular 11/0 seed beads, and I've twisted this one. I was reinforcing it, and I ended up pulling too hard and twisted it, but I kind of like it. I think it's pretty. So for the moon rocks, you're going to use seed beads because that's what you've used on the rest of the bracelet. So here's the moon rocks necklace toggle. So you see this is using just regular seed beads. This is delica beads. So there you have it. You've got your 10-row toggle. I hope this was helpful to you, and I will see you on the next video.